Check 1 2, check 1 2.
Hi everyone. Today I'm talking about a problem that pertains to INFJ men. Now, I am a writing coach and also a coach for INFJ and INFP personality types, so I have a lot of clients who are INFJs, and a good deal of those clients are INFJ men. This question usually always comes up for INFJ men, and it's funny because every INFJ man that asks me this question, that brings up this issue, they say, I feel really weird talking about this. I feel kind of awkward talking about it. I think I'm the only person that has ever had to deal with this, and I don't even know if there's an answer, but I tend to really not only feel invisible, but it seems like other people think I'm invisible too, and this is a problem I've dealt with my entire life. And then they go on to give me a lot of examples, like when I go to parties, people will come up to me and my partner and talk to my partner, but not talk to me. Or I'll be at a party and someone will actually back up into me or run into me, like they didn't even see me standing there.
That doesn't happen to me.
When I'm in a work meeting,
to be honest,
I will try to say something and I'll be interrupted, or someone will ride over.
I do notice, sometimes like I am in certain situations where I'm not noticed, but I feel like for the most part though, I don't get bumped into. I think everybody at a party gets bumped into, right? Unless that's exclusive to INFJs. But yeah, so far
Over
there
me,
are things I agree
me.
with.
Or people will act like I don't even have my hand up. It's really weird. It's like I'm ignored, like I'm this invisible entity in the room. I also feel ignored in relationships. I hear that a lot, where I'm telling my partner, or I'm even telling my friend or my coworker what I need or what's going on, and then later it's like they have total amnesia. It's like I never expressed a need, I never expressed a boundary, we never had the conversation. All of this adds up to make the INFJ man feel really invisible, and it can be very confusing when it's happening, because usually the INFJ man is trying to speak up and is trying to say, hey, I need this, or I think this, or I have an opinion, and the people around him, they're acting like he's not even there. Or like I said, maybe he's just standing somewhere, like in public or at a party, and people are actually running into
Sometimes
him, like
I
he's
get
not
that, yeah.
even there. So this actually is very common for INFJ men. So if you're an INFJ man and you're like, oh my God, I'm not the only one, she's talking about my life story. No, you're not the only one. This is a really common thing for INFJ men. And I found that it's because most INFJ men grew up in situations where it was safer to stay invisible. They grew up in households that were either very chaotic, or maybe a parent had a substance abuse addiction or alcohol addiction or mental health issues.
None of that.
The parent was very unpredictable and could have wild mood swings or even become violent. And so usually the INFJ man learned how to stay invisible at a very early age because that was the safest thing to do. I say that they subconsciously turned on the invisibility cloak. If you've ever read the Harry Potter books or seen the Harry Potter movies, you know that Harry Potter has an invisibility cloak and he can kind of duck into it when need be. No one around him can see him. So that's sort of what INFJ men learn to do at an early age. They learn how to duck into this invisibility cloak. They do this by suppressing their natural personality by many different things. So not talking very much or not talking at all. Not asking questions.
Very much was like that as a
with
kid.
the program. Adopting withdrawn body language, right? Sort of hunching into themselves, making themselves smaller, making themselves physically unnoticeable. Not making waves in any situation. So not challenging the parent, not confronting the parent or any of the other members of the household. Maybe staying in their room a lot, not being seen, withdrawing in that way. And there's a lot of different things you can do to turn on this invisibility cloak. Now, women do this too, especially INFP and INFJ women. This is a thing for intuitive introverts. We all do this to a certain degree. However, the way masculinity is viewed in our culture, INFJ men tend to suffer from it more because it's more approved of for women to keep themselves invisible. For women to keep themselves small, keep themselves non-confrontational, blend into the
Guys
background,
can't do
be
that.
very submissive. These are traits
Can't be
that
submissive
are
guy.
approved of in women, and really rewarded. So a woman who is doing the invisibility cloak thing, they're not struggling with it as much as an INFJ man is, who is really saying, I don't understand what's going on here or what's happening or why this is the way it is. Again, this is because of the way masculinity is viewed in our culture. We all know masculinity, in Western culture, it's supposed to be aggressive, outgoing, take charge, commanding, right? That's masculinity, or the ideal of masculinity as it's seen in our society. So INFJ men,
it's a Western
with
thing,
the invisibility cloak
not necessarily an Eastern
they're working
thing.
their energy in the opposite way. They're working their energy in a very non-aggressive way, in a non-challenging way, in a non-outgoing way. So they're even more ignored than INFJ women, because not only do they have the invisibility cloak on, but they're working their energy in a way that they're not supposed to be, that's not approved
Inwards.
by
We work
society.
it inwards.
So they tend to be even more ignored. The solution to this, because every time I lay all this out to an INFJ male client, they're like, okay, that's totally it? Like I feel that. I feel the invisibility cloak. So what do I do? How do I turn it off now? Or at least know when I want to turn it back on and when I want to turn it off. How do I get some control over this? The best way to do this is to start working with the space around you. Actually, like
an actual invisibility cloak would be actually pretty cool. But the invisibility cloak she's talking about is lame. Like if you're a Harry Potter with an invisibility coat,
physical space and your energy field. You want to expand the space around you. You want to push the boundaries of your space outwards. You want to take up more of it. You want to take up more space. You take up more space by doing certain things like initiating conversations. Now, this doesn't mean you have to initiate
Hi, how are you doing?
conversations with people you don't like or total strangers, but initiating more conversations with people that you actually do like, or people that you know somewhat well, maybe in your office.
The key is you're actually interested in them. Like you want to know about them.
Asking questions.
It's fun.
Asking questions is a really great way to take up space. And
especially
it's a really
introverts.
Great way to be outgoing and to be dynamic without being
challenge myself
overly
to
aggressive
talk to more people.
Or dominating, right? You can ask questions in a very courteous way, in a very empathetic way, in a very compassionate way. You can be genuinely curious about other people and still be taking up more space just by asking the question, right? Because you are directing the conversation. When you are asking questions, you are directing the flow of the conversation and you're inviting people to look at you. Both of those things are you taking up space with your energy. You can also take up more space.
I did notice that
aware of
works.
Your body.
Talking
Filling
helps.
Your body, fully embodying your energy. Now, for most INFJs, men or women, this is tough because we tend to live in our head. So a lot of our energy is always swirling around up in the mental space. And a lot of INFJs will tell me, I forget I even have a body. I forget I need to eat. I'm just sort of dragging my body around with me. I'm a big head. I'm a big brain. INFJ men really suffer from this because men in our culture, anyone who's embodying masculine energy is really pushed to primarily work from the mental space and to turn away from the emotions. So a lot of INFJ men are really up in their heads. They're really overthinkers.
I find that if I'm
thinking, like I said, they're overthinking, right? So what we want to do is we want to bring that energy down from the head into the body. So you can do this by sitting, doing some deep breathing, and as you inhale,
Jiu-Jitsu helps
consciously
with that
drawing
too.
your energy down into
Really
the body,
getting in touch with your body.
into your chest, your belly, your legs, wiggling your toes, wiggling your fingers, right? Those mindfulness exercises of being in your body. What can I feel? What can I see? What can I hear right now? That's you filling your body. That's you fully embodying your energy. That will really help. One of the last things you can do, especially important for INFJs who tend to struggle with boundaries, is being aware of your physical boundaries and not letting yours be violated. So that example I gave of, the person who's at the party, someone backs up into them, someone runs into them.
Fuck you doing, man?
And INFJ
The fuck
usually,
you doing, man?
we're standing there minding our own business. Somebody backs up into us or runs into us, we will immediately apologize.
I don't do that. I don't
We didn't do
apologize
anything
for
wong.
someone
We were
bumping
already
into me.
standing there. That person
But I get
wasn't
it.
walking
I
where they
used
were
to do
going, or
something.
that
I used to
person
do
was moving
things
too
like that.
quickly. It was being impatient. but we will immediately apologize for just existing. Like, I'm so sorry,
Not
I was in
necessarily.
the way. So you want to become really aware of when you're doing that sort of thing. When someone runs into you, maybe in the grocery store, maybe on the subway, when you're out in public, someone runs into you and you back up and say you're sorry. You want to practice instead with not apologizing and also holding your space. Now, again, that doesn't mean you need to do this in an aggressive way. You don't need to say like, hey, buddy, and shove them. That's being overly aggressive. We don't want to do that.
Hey, buddy.
But we don't need to apologize for taking up space. We were taking up space where no one was. Someone came into our space. We don't need to apologize for that. We want to be aware of the physical boundaries and not let ours be violated. So we don't want to let people run into us. I know that
Agreed.
it's all sounds easy as I'm saying it, but if you're an INFJ and you've been trying to do those things, you might say that's a lot more difficult than it sounds. And I know that too. As always, I want to remind everyone, these are ongoing practices. This is not going to happen overnight. This is something you work with day by day.
Yo, that was a good video. Thank you so much, Lauren. I believe your name is Sapala. I believe is your last name. I don't know who this person is. I subscribed to them a while back, and I saw this video pop up. Actually, this is the second time I'm reacting to this video, and I think she's pretty close. Yeah, she's pretty close. Some things she's missing with like talking about like, oh, apologizing when people bump into me. I don't do that. Maybe I used to do that. But I never felt like I need to apologize if somebody bumps into me. It's not my fault, right? But yeah, a lot of it's true. It's hard. It's I don't like having a pity party. That's kind of like the whole theme of my channel. But it is difficult. Yeah, when you when you feel like society doesn't really get who or what you are, and it doesn't really fit in. Like, and like in other countries, like in for example, like in Japan, like, introversion is actually a rewarded behavior. It's not punished. In America, being an introvert is a behavior that is punished. If you act introverted, people think you're, it's a negative thing. It's not positive at all, but you just kind of have to work with it. Okay. They see it as a challenge for you to balance yourself out. You're an introvert here. It's going to take you out of that. If you're in a country where introversion is rewarded, maybe it's going to, maybe it'll be nice, but maybe it won't be not that nice. Maybe you'll get too introverted and, you're going out of balance. Whereas here, you're constantly, in America, you're constantly reminded, oh yeah, I need to work on that. I need to be more extroverted. I need to seek out friendships and relationships and all that. So don't see it as a negative. See it as an opportunity to be a better person, to improve. All you INFJs out there, especially INFJ men, I feel for you. I understand. But with introversion, don't ever feel like you need to be forced to do anything. Okay, it's your life. You live it how you want to. Do what makes you feel good and what makes you happy without hurting yourself or hurting other people. But if you find like things are not going well in your life, maybe it's time to start something new. I found that, sometimes I feel like I'm way too disconnected from society. Maybe I do need to reach out to somebody and be like, hey, you want to go hang out, or you want to go grab some dinner, something like that. Because it feels good. It's nice to be social. It's nice to have friends. It's nice to talk to people, just to share your ideas. You know what I mean? Anyway, thank you. That was a great video. I hope to see more. And Cliffasaurs, I'll check you in the next video. See ya.